Cortana!
1.6 million views? Insane. 1.6 million views, and I accomplished all of that while being stuck in this hole. Simply unbelievable. Not to mention, we are less than 1,000 subs away now from finally not only being able to hit 90K, but from being plucked out of this damp, dark, dusty, dirty hole you guys plopped me in. Don't act like you didn't tell the Husky to do it. We know you told the Husky to do it. And I've worked my way to earning the subs to get out of here, so hit subscribe. Oh, don't forget, tomorrow, 12 p.m. Pacific time, we will be streaming some of the best entertainments you can get live on this entire goddamn website. So be sure to be there. If you're not, I will not mow your lawn. Anyways, shameless plug-in out of the way. Let's begin with today's story. During Nintendo's annual shareholders meeting on June 27th, 2025, a shareholder asked a question about game keycards, saying that they usually hear about third-party games not selling on Nintendo platforms, and proceeded to say that even though game keycards are a half-baked measure with little appeal, many third-party publishers are using it. They asked whether game keycards have something to do with the poor sales of third-party games.
Oh no! What happened? Oh no! How terrible! That's just awful! How terrible! Oh no!
Honestly, if I had a share of Nintendo, I'd be asking the same exact goddamn thing. I would be questioning whether or not my investment should remain in your corporation if the majority of my reliance in you comes from your first party. Some people seem to forget just how important third-party sales are to a console's platform because they make up the majority, except when it comes to Nintendo. Now, a share is a share. How that money is made, perhaps you don't care, but if you want the company to grow, you look for things to grow that company, and what Nintendo needs to grow in is third-party sales. They are the weakest of all the platforms in this department. I'm actually quite surprised any shareholder stood up and asked what Dreamcast guy would call a brutally honest question. It seems that these aren't just stories circulating the internet, and people aren't just talking out of their asses. When shareholders are asking them personally at these meetings, then you know that the problem does exist, and it's not just being fabricated for clicks, which a lot of the time some of these Nintendo stories are. But when shareholders are asking, that legitimizes the concern. Because like I said, as a shareholder, you want Nintendo to continue to grow. Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa started his response by explaining how game keycards work. Oh gee, like we don't already know from the millions of videos that have explained it. He then went on to say that the company will work hard in helping third parties sell their games, and that the larger file sizes of Nintendo Switch 2 games brought about their creation. He didn't answer the question on how game keycards affect third-party game sales on Nintendo Switch 2. That's the most politician thing you could ever do, not answer the actual question. And what's even funnier is he answered that question with an explanation on game keycards and file sizes, but so far, basically all of the games that are on game keycards could fit on standardized Switch 2 cartridges. As a matter of fact, it's even worse than that. Certain games that were entirely intact on a cartridge for Switch 1 are now game keycards for Switch 2. There is a few of those, and those games don't even go over 10 gigs. The fact that those developers were given the option and the freedom to sell their game like that shouldn't even fucking be legal. PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, they all get away with this. At some point, it's going to have to lead to a lawsuit because this is not true game ownership. The fact that piracy has to be the solution to actual game ownership should really put that into perspective, but the consumers have voted with their wallets. And now Switch keycards are here to stay. And that is how you will be experiencing a lot of third party with fake e-waste keycards. The way the president of Nintendo did not want to answer that question should say everything. It's PR talk and damage control. Another shareholder shared a transcription of the same Q&A in which Furukawa was quoted as saying that game keycards were conceived as an option for publishers to bring their games to retail, and that they have been considering ideas for game keycards together with third-party publishers and proceeding with selling games on the new physical format. Why do we call it physical? It's not actually physical. You may as well make that cartridge out of cardboard at that point, like you did with your quote-unquote VR headset for the Switch 1. It's as good as shipping a box with a paper slip that has the code on it, because it's no different when you're thinking, well, actually, Frit, you can share this. You can let a friend borrow it. They can put it in their Switch too, and you know, they could share it. Yeah, and you can share gonorrhea, but nobody wants to do that. Not to mention, I mean, you can also share actual physical games, and you can share digital games. So my question is, where the hell does this fit into the equation for consumers? Oh, that's right, it doesn't. This only benefits game developers who want you to become reliant on accessing games through their servers in the future and not physically in a store. For instance, we have some controversy right now. There are some games on Amazon being listed on the pictures of the product when they're actually game key cards. Deceiving box art should be illegal. No disclaimer on the box art. Amazon listing says key card, support 1, fully on card, support 2, game key card. Online stores were led to believe fully on card, but had to correct to game key card. Get your shit together, games industry. Oh my god. They really want to deceive you, don't they? Of course, I had to make sure this was even true to begin with. So I went to Amazon to check myself, and yes, it's true. Little Nightmares 3 for the Switch 2 is not shown as a game key card on the image it is advertised. If you go and look up other games for the Switch 2 that are key card, it is clearly displayed on the image of the game. Like dead center, you can't miss it. Which means that this is a publisher/developer error being committed. And I say error lightly because let's face it, if you're selling your game as a game key card, the majority of people are not going to buy it. That has been shown in sales. And so some developers are taking liberty with this, it would seem. That's my best guess. It's either intentionally deceptive or a complete mistake, but I highly doubt publishers wouldn't know to list that and to not falsely advertise it on Amazon. See, and that's the thing that confuses me, because I was led to believe that the whole point of game key cards and their listing distinguishes it from other titles so that consumers are not misled into purchasing something they don't want. What's the point of that if some game developers are outright listing their games like this and not informing consumers? It's bad enough that these guys want to cheap out and give you a fake physical game to save themselves a few dollars and benefit themselves in the long run with having games be reliant on their servers. I can understand why game developers would opt for this financially. I just can't justify it from a consumer standpoint. That's the whole point of consoles, physical media. That's the whole point of Nintendo Switch, physical, to build a collection. If there's one thing you ever see these Nintendo Twig boys always doing on their YouTube pages, it's posting thumbnails doing the soy face holding stacks of Nintendo Switch games. Both the EU and Japanese box art for Little Nightmares 3 don't show the keycard banner. If these are the final box arts, we may have another fully on-cart third-party release for Switch 2. Who wants to be the first in the room to tell him? Oh, he had his hopes so high. He had such high hopes. I actually kind of feel bad for them now. I don't feel right for laughing anymore. It's not his fault. It legitimately is not the Nintendo guy's fault on this one. No matter how much I want to blame them for supporting this corporation, you can't pin the blame on them on this one. This one's entirely on Nintendo and on the publishers to this game. They did not advertise or put on the box the banner that labels it as a key card. This is false advertisement. It's like when the PS5 had 8K on the box and then they later removed it. Hopefully, you know, videos like this one and some of the few people out there saying something gets these developers to update it, because as we speak, as I look at it on Amazon, it has not been updated. Now, this could just be in my region, but as we saw in the EU and Japan, it was listed like that. Here in the States, it also seems to be listed like that. It's incredibly important that you actually list the games as key cards, especially on the front fucking page. Most people are not going to research if it's a game key card or not. Now, we know it's no secret that Nintendo cooperated with third-party publishers for this solution. It's just been confirmed by the president in that shareholder meeting. And as a shareholder, you begin to wonder, are we going to see growth in third-party? Or is it going to be miserable, disappointing sales yet again for Nintendo? I even had my friend in Puerto Rico look it up. And yes, on Amazon as well. Not listed as a game key card. So far that's Europe, Japan, America, and Puerto Rico, where this is not being correctly listed. Now, it's not like Little Nightmares 3 is lighting the world on fire and it's a huge travesty. There's probably more people who watch my videos than those who are gonna buy this on the Switch, but it's clear as day that it's like a mark of shame. Some developers know putting that on your box could potentially mean less sales, in which case, why didn't you just opt for paying for a larger cartridge? Because you know who you could get more sales from? Collectors. And there's lots of them. People who spend more money on games than their own healthcare. If this was Nintendo's only way of keeping third-party happy for the Switch 2, then they are spineless. They have an advantage that PS5 and Xbox don't have, and that's that their game files are significantly smaller. If it's true what the rumors say and Nintendo did not give developers smaller cartridges as an option, then everything happening right now with some outright falsely advertising or third-party publishers seeing lower sales, then it can all be pinned back to Nintendo, who greenlit the whole thing from the very beginning. However you see it, one thing is for sure, we can all agree that you must advertise your game as so. I get people want to turn to Xbox and PlayStation because it's even more offensive over there, but Nintendo needs to be strict in reinforcing and making sure developers do not falsely advertise like this, especially on a big website like Amazon. Someone's got to call it out. I haven't seen videos on it yet, so I guess I'll be the first to do it and get some developers to take notice. Fix this. On the road to 90K. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you so choose to. With that being said, I will see you in the next video.
Free Congo sucks ass.